It's time to hand out something gold. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Test three, test three, test three. When that happens. Mic's open, mic test, mic test, mic test. Alright, I know who I am. I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
Studios in Austin, Texas. It's the second annual House Show Awards.
How was that?
Yeah, I was just come off watching Dune. Just watching Dune, so I figured, I mean, that's going to be stealing next year's award season. But this year...
That should have been before the logo.
Yeah,
Doesn't make sense in that order.
But yeah, we're ready. Welcome to the second annual House Show Awards Live. House Show Live Awards, both are applicable. We got the Geek Commander, Bree Rose in the house. What's up, Ryan?
Face for radio, reporting for duty.
That's right. All right, we're back. We are all live in Those Incredible Studios in Austin, Texas. We all converge for Little Gold Man / Glass Statue season. This is pretty much the main event, right? This is the WrestleMania of award shows, but we're getting ours in before they get to the Academy Awards.
This is the most important award show of the season.
This is the one that's going to save it all.
Yeah.
We don't have any hosts that are going to do anything. Nobody's going to get slapped. We're going to get streakers. Are we going to get any streakers?
I don't know if we can say that yet, though. It's still early in the night. Might have to throw these hands.
We should do like the guy for the Super Bowl who placed the prop bet that he thinks there's going to be a streaker, and then he streaked. He hacked the system. So we make it a streaker. I mean, that might be that's a little bit of a deep cut for Academy Award streakers, right? That was like David Niven in the 70s. Whereas I think people more are known for the Moonlight botch and then the slap heard around the world. The Moonlight botch was such a big deal when it happened.
What is the Moonlight? Oh, the Moonlight botch.
Moonlight botch, yeah.
Gotcha.
When they gave it to La La Land, and then it was Moonlight. And then...
How does that even happen? What happened there? Did they explain that?
That was with so Warren Beatty was reading the name, and he was up there with, I forgot who it was, but someone saw, I guess they'd gotten like a wrong envelope, and it said Emma Stone's name, and so they just said La La Land, and it was like, oh no, this is not the right envelope.
That doesn't make any sense.
That was
Like the movies are completely different. It's not like it was Armageddon and Deep Impact, and they were like, "Oh, I don't know which one you were talking about." That Meteor movie.
Yeah, that was his castmate. What was her name? What was the movie that they were up there for? They were the honorees.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was now.
I see her. I see the picture here.
What's happening? We can't see what you're looking at.
Oh
Jeff.
yeah, no, I was trying to pull up to see who that was with Warren Beatty. That was his co-star, the actress that was in the what movie were they in? Oh my gosh, Faye Dunaway. Wow, that was killing me. Yeah, it was Faye Dunaway that was in there.
It's one of those moments that's so awkward. It's like an episode of The Office. You're just like, I don't want to rewatch that.
Yeah, but I remember because usually at that time you're kind of just chilling when you're watching, and then you sat up. You're like, what is happening here? And that guy was like so rude to Warren Beatty. I was just like, Warren Beatty could probably still take you, but he just yanked it out of his hand. He's like, Moonlight. But then that was all. Everyone forgot all about that with the slap. But no slaps here. But we thought it was time to throw our votes in the ring, in what do you call it? In the hat, in the ring, in the golden circle, whatever you want to call it, so we can decide what we think were most memorable and honorable in the calendar year 2023. Were we all sticking to those rules?
What's the rules again?
We just stuck with everything that was calendar year 2023.
No, I don't stick with those rules. It's anything that happened up till yesterday. So no.
I bet you we're going to be way closer than we realize, because I don't feel like anything big happened other than, oh, wow. Well, before that, it was kind of quiet at theaters, right, in January and February.
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, if we're going to...
Especially quiet in those Madam Web screenings.
Yeah. The crickets get the awards for that one.
All right.
So, yeah. So, we're going to go through...
Excellent monologue.
Yes, we went through it.
Very topical.
Yes. So, I think we don't want to go through all... We want to just get into it, right? And we'll just start reading them. Because it's going to take a little bit of time. We do have...
we got 12 categories.
12 categories. 12 categories, 2 breaks, and we just took a spin on our take of what we see as the normal standard awards. We put our Dose Incredible spin on it. So you guys ready to do this? You have any last words before we get going here? Everybody looks spiffy. We got bow ties. We got black silk ties. Where's the after party? We're going to have an after party?
We don't do the in and out like you do in Hollywood. We'll go to Whataburger.
That is the thing, right? We've seen Weird Al and oh my God, my brain. I'm a little rusty, man.
Yeah, we're getting that. Okay, it's got a little ring rust on you.
I definitely have a lot of ring rust.
It's an award show. You've seen them a bunch of times. We just think back to the last award show you show. We're gonna go like it's gonna get that flow.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but yeah. I still have some Jersey residue on me, so everything's slower, darker, and colder. So I gotta shake it off a little bit. So, all right, you guys ready?
I'm good.
You want to do this? Mario, you ready?
I got dressed up for this.
All right, let's do this. So we will be doing these in no particular order, except the order on the rundown list. So our first award is the biggest movie pop.
Can you explain what that means?
Yes, so the biggest movie pop is... We've all been chasing that dragon. I don't know about you guys. We've been chasing that dragon since Avengers Endgame. But we've had it before that. But that's the most recent of memory of when you literally forget you're in a movie and you think you're at a live event and you just cheer. And you just literally cheer. I don't know if you guys have gotten that recently. But that's literally all it means. After Endgame, we were all waiting for that next biggest movie pop, which comes from the term of pro wrestling. You get the Road Warrior pop, right? When the crowd all comes to their feet and they just scream. So like when Captain America picked up that hammer, everybody screamed. So we need that biggest movie pop.
We'll get the hang of this, Joe.
Okay.
We're going to work it out.
I know, I paused when I thought we were doing it first, but... Anthony, what's up? Miami in the house. But yeah, we are at... So, Brian, I think you have the honors of envelope number 1 for the biggest movie pop.
I do. This envelope open. All right. The award for biggest movie pop goes to Godzilla Minus One.
All right. So, yes. Congratulations to Mr. Godzilla, Mr. Toho Studios. Technically, I stuck to the rules because I thought I had my own rules if this was calendar year 2023. However, I did not view this until calendar year 2024 when it was Godzilla Minus One, minus color. But I just got to tell you guys, watching Monarch, and I was getting the same feeling that I got with Fear the Walking Dead, where you started cheering for the people that you were supposed to be rooting for. You were cheering for them for their demise. You wanted them gone. And that's what I was getting to with Monarch. I was like, forget it. I just want, just smash them. I popped when I was suddenly reminded that Godzilla was a heel. You're not supposed to be cheering for the giant nuclear lizard as he's running through squashing people. And Godzilla Minus One brought that back. It brought back that nasty side. Just watching him go through the ocean, you were rooting for the people. I stopped rooting for the people. And Godzilla Minus One, minus color, I was rooting for the people to take Godzilla out. So that was the closest I got to. I was just like, oh, finally, all right. I want something to make sense. And to me, that was the biggest movies pop of 2023.
I think when you're referring to this movie, I bet you're referring to one specific moment. I'm going to guess what it is.
Yeah.
It's the moment when we get to Godzilla's attacking, I forget the name of the city, but we hear the classic music.
Yes.
In the middle of the movie there. We drop that. Bum, 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 bum.
Yes.
Bum.
Oh, yes. That's it. That music even.
I think that was the specific moment that this movie really, really got over for me.
Yes, it really did hit. That was in wrestling, that would have been the sting that started off the music. And then you're like, you get to your feet because you know shit was about to go on. That music just hit perfectly.
That's Austin's glass shattering.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. So when I heard that music, I was in. So I was very, very happy with Godzilla Minus One, minus zero. So good luck in 2 weeks to Godzilla X Kong. Because I don't know who you're going to be. Sometimes you're just rooting for it to be over. And I hope that's not the case because the bar has been raised.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they should stop making Godzilla movies now. Unless it's Godzilla Zero or whatever comes next.
Yeah. I don't know why Like I was listening to, Bob Iger and just like him do his little tap dance of what's going on with Disney. And I just wanted to I wish I can just talk to him just like, I got an idea. Why don't you just do it right? Why don't you just do cool shit? When people say, well, it's kind of complicated, it's already over. That means the artistic integrity and story is already out the window and you're just doing some tap dance because someone has a picture with you with a goat or some shit. And you're like, it's over when you say it's complicated. No, it's not complicated. Just give us a good story. And so I don't know why at this point I would just yield, bend the knee, and give the rights back to have... So who was the director of that? Just give it okay.
We don't even know the name of the director.
No, and it didn't matter. It's just like you are now in charge of.
All
the
right,
Godzilla
look that one
franchise.
up. You have the computer right there. Look that
Godzilla
up.
franchise.
I know you have that right now. How did we not look up the name of the director first? Or I'll look it up.
Takashi Yamazaki. That's him, and he was actually a Japanese filmmaker and visual effects supervisor, known for his blockbusters and advanced visual effects.
I think it's crazy about that movie is they made it for the cost of one day of shooting Avengers or something like that.
Yes, that's exactly it. I mean, when Iger's like, well, it's complicated. No, if you have to say that, you're doing it wrong. Sorry. That's just my take. All right. Biggest movie pop. Next up. Mario, you will be the presenter for the box office breakthrough.
See, we're getting the hang of this.
Here it is.
Yeah. Okay, the box office breakthrough. I think, B. Rose, you can explain a little more about this category, right?
Yeah, so, every year we always have someone kind of breaks through and kind of becomes the talk of the town with a lot of stuff like that. And sometimes it's, someone who's finally getting their due or someone who just does something so outrageous. And then every once in a while, but very rarely, is it someone who kind of just pops out of nowhere. That doesn't really happen often. And this is kind of a mixture of a little bit of both. It's basically someone who just came out really I don't want to say out of nowhere, but kind of out of nowhere and turned in a performance that was just mind-blowingly awesome.
All right. I am intrigued.
Fair enough. That's good for me. Got the envelope right here from the accounting firm of PricewaterhouseCoopers. I think you got to do this on camera, guys, so it looks dramatic.
Yeah.
Opening up. And the winner for box office breakthrough is... Didn't get this ready at the time. Divine Joy Randolph from the Holdovers. She was really good in that.
She was great in that.
She's fantastic in it.
So good.
And she, her background has always been in kind of comedy stuff.
Right.
So, she's got a great little role in Office Christmas Party. And then she's been killing it in Only Murders in the Building.
I didn't know she was in the
She's fantastic in that show, and she's kind of a scene stealer in that. So, she's not really, she hasn't really been seen to do something like at this scale anyways, especially in a major film. And the film itself was fantastic, but I just thought that even, with Paul Giamatti, she kind of held her own and really I thought she kind of stole the movie a little bit. She brings so much heart to it, and it's a character that has a lot going on, and you really kind of need to pull that dramatic weight, and she really just nailed it. I was really impressed with her specifically. It's not anything that she probably couldn't do it. It's just, it was nice to see someone who kind of get that role to really kind of break out and show what they're capable of.
Yeah, she went nose to nose and toes to toes with Paul Giamatti, who's the front runner, and he's been sweeping award seasons with that. That's not easy. He's a fantastic actor.
And I think she's going to end up pulling it off. I mean, I think that she's
a lock. Who's going to beat her?
Yeah, she's my front runner for it.
She's supporting actress nominated,
supporting, right? Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's definitely going to lock that down.
And this was very much like back Castaway type thing where there wasn't a lot else going on the screen except their performance, and a lot of times it was just the two or 3 people. So I mean, there's no, you can't have somebody else carry the weight for you. You gotta be, everybody's got to carry the load, and she carried the load really well. And she was great as far as, like you said, she has a comedy vibe, but she also has a very serious, like you feel like there's something rich under the awkward chuckles kind of thing. So good pick. Well deserved.
And honestly, props to the Holdovers. If you haven't seen it, that's like a sleeper.
Yeah.
It didn't really, I don't know that it had any box office success or whatever, but it's a really good movie.
I enjoyed it, and I watched it proper over the holiday season, and that definitely feels like it's going to be one of the holiday movies that you go back and revisit for sure.
Yeah. I was trying to remember where I knew Divine Joy Randolph from. I'd seen her somewhere. She was in the Dolomite movie.
Yeah. My Name is Dolomite.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, it was just super nice to see her kind of, because I love Only Murders in the Building, and she's a great little supporting character in that. And I remember her seeing her, she plays a security guard in Office Christmas Party. Yes. So she's got the comedy chops, but even in Only Murders, she kind of plays more of the straight role to it, and so it was just kind of nice seeing her. They had said the name when I went to go see the movie. I was like, okay, I think maybe I know who that is, and I didn't really recognize the name. But then seeing her on screen, I kind of recognized her, and then just watching her turn in that kind of performance was just so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and you saw a lot of her.
Yeah.
In the Golden Globes, her dress was very, very revealing. Exactly.
Maybe I should have worn that tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Could have worn that. You would do one of these numbers where she kept pulling it up. All right. Our next award is the biggest culture pop. So.
It's okay, keep going.
Oh, okay. All right. So we kind of explained what pop was, with movie pop, but kind of explain to me what you mean by biggest culture pop. I think I mean it, but let's for the audience.
I think the culture, what this category is about is a time or an event or something that happened that just shook society to its core. Everyone was affected by this. Everyone was into this. Everyone was doing something with this. Culture itself was moved to react to this event. That's a culture pop.
All right. Makes sense. Needle moving. Get people excited about entertainment. That's what we want. All right. That is me.
That's you?
Oh, yes. So mine, I don't think mine is also Price Waterhouse Coopers, not Deloitte and Touche.
I need you to dramatically open that on
Yes.
camera.
All right. So we got that.
Right? Yeah, there we go. We need the ASMR.
All right. And the award for biggest culture pop goes to Barbenheimer.
I mean, really, wasn't this the biggest moment in movies in the last, I don't know how long?
Hands down, again, I'm going to just go back because Avengers Endgame was like the watershed moment before the world kind of got turned upside down. But this has got to be, not only did it match that, it's maybe movie history. Have we seen anything kind of go head to head like this? And everybody wins, everybody benefits.
Well, I think this was the first time in a long time where something captured the zeitgeist before it was even out.
Right.
Like, people were talking about these two films heavily before they even released. Before we even knew if they were even good, people were still talking about this matchup of, them going up against each other and the two, the disparity between the two films and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, since Endgame, there really hasn't been a moment where either a film or two films in this case have really kind of captured the public consciousness around film like the way these two did.
And this was like two movies that lifted each other up. Like they have absolutely nothing to do with each other. They're complete opposites. One is about a toy and one is about a bomb that killed millions of people. And these two films just created their own little positive, negative, sort of like magnetic workflow that just lifted them both up.
Yeah, it was the rising tide that raises all ships.
Yeah.
I mean, they really were.
I mean, you got to think, what if these movies had not come out in the same weekend? Would they have done as well?
That's a good question. Yeah, because I mean they're both phenomenal films
For the first time, and I don't know how long, people like wanted like we see 2 movies a weekend.
Yeah,
But the average person does not see 2 movies in a weekend, let alone 2 pretty long movies.
right.
How long was Oppenheimer? 3.5 hours.
Yeah, 3.5 hours. Yeah,
And then Barbie was a good 2.5.
she was over 2. She was
Yeah.
over 2.
And then you had everybody in the world dressing up in pink and going to the movies and taking the photos inside the Barbie box,
Oh yeah,
right?
there were huge lines for the Barbie box. Huge lines.
You'd hop in on LinkedIn and see your old CEO in a pink suit with a white sweater taking Barbie photos.
And the thing that I appreciated about it was it wasn't gimmicked. It wasn't worked. This wasn't, the gentleman minions, like they were kind of just doing it for a lark, having a laugh.
Yeah.
This was a shoot. I mean, this was daughters and sons having movie moments, which all 3 of us, we kind of had that growing up. I mean, I remember when my dad snuck me into my first movie when I didn't pay him. Like, we're not paying? Like, no, we're going in. We already saw one. Let's just go watch the next one.
Right.
You have these movie moments that kind of shape your life. And it was great to see that people were coming to the theaters to see both. And there wasn't like, this picture is great, Mario. Good choice in the picture, because I like the contrast of the red and the blue, and it just kind of the negative and the positive and how they are completely different. But again, it was a versus, but it's still everybody won.
And there was a ton of crossover too. There were people who are, Oppenheimer people who were going to see Barbie, and then Barbie fans going to see Oppenheimer to kind of see what this thing was. It was opening each of the films up to new audiences too. And like you said, it was kind of fun because Oppenheimer is a movie that I would normally see, just on my own, and my kids are not going to be into that, but my kids are totally into Barbie. And so it was kind of a nice little thing where I could take my kids to go see a movie, and we did. We dressed up. My daughter put on a hot pink bodysuit, and I had my hot pink shirt on and stuff like that. It was for Barbie specifically, for me, that was I hate to keep bringing it back up, but since Endgame, it was the first experience movie where I wanted to dress up and go out and have a good time and enjoy being at the movie itself, whether or not the movie was good. Thankfully, it was great. But even if it hadn't been great, it's still the experience of going out and enjoying that and sharing that was kind of what the whole point was.
And also, you got to take into account, this is 2 things no one's ever seen before. We've seen Marvel. We've seen 35 Marvel movies. We've seen 50 Star Wars. We've seen Indiana Jones a dozen times. This was a movie about a doll with 4 points of articulation that you can't really do much with. You just put dresses on. What's up, Bones McCoy?
He dressed up as Thanos in the Barbie movie.
So, what is this movie even gonna be? How that sparks curiosity. You get a G.I. Joe movie. It's like, okay, they're gonna go to war. Transformers are gonna be in a war, right? That toy. Barbie is just Barbie, and I think there's that one moment in the movie that I love. That's one of my favorite moments, when she is sort of at the end of a rope and she gives up and just lays down on the floor like an abandoned Barbie.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was a very similar experience to what we all had with the Lego movie. When the Lego movie came out, we were like, how are you going to make a movie based around this little toy and make it interesting and
of just blocks?
Yeah, it's just little bricks together. How are you going to make that engaging and interesting for, make it a 4-quadrant movie? And Barbie kind of did the same thing. I mean, when they announced Greta Gerwig, I was like, okay, this could be interesting. And then, I'm a mark for her in just about anything. And so I was really, kind of hesitant, what's this going to be? But I remember the day that they previewed that first preview shot of her and Gosling in those rollerblading outfits, I was like, this is going to be the greatest movie ever or the worst. And it could have gone either way. And I'm so happy that it came out the way that it did, because it's such it's a fun movie, which we don't get a lot of now. Even with Marvel and all the other movies, they've gotten to where they're not as fun as the older ones, but this was just a purely fun movie, which was so refreshing.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about this before on here. Hollywood's full of idiots. There's a lot of dummies there that are at the top. There's a lot of the wrong people have the right jobs. So in a sense, we were kind of lucky in a sense that you had a director, and that it was really a happy accident that they're like, we are not moving this date. And the other great thing about this whole showdown is both movies were great. That didn't have to necessarily work out that way, because just to go to show Hollywood has I always said nobody wants to be first, everybody wants to be second. So now that you're going to have to try to recreate this, and I don't know if it's something that could be recreated. They could have recreated it at their award show this Sunday. Mario, we talked about this. How big of a whiff was it to not have Jack Black singing Peaches versus
I don't understand
Gosling?
how that happened. Why is he not nominated?
And singing Gosling is gonna sing. How do you not have that as a showdown, and you have them start cutting promos on each other a few weeks before that and actually get people excited for the Oscars? I mean, we're movie marks, so of course we're going to be watching. But like the average person, if you have a Jack Black cutting a promo on Gosling on who's a better singer, come on,
Did
Oscars.
Jack Black anger somebody at the Academy? Because I don't understand what. If you go back to last March, whenever the Super Mario Brothers movie came out, you were like, you just knew that's it. That's an Oscar song. Jack Black's getting an Oscar. Yeah. And then, of course, Ken rolled up, and it's okay, now it's Ken or Koopa. Ken or Koopa. What the hell?
Yeah, it's right there. That's what I mean. Hollywood is full of idiots. It was right there. You blew it.
Gosh.
And what's sad too is, in the past, the Oscars have been shown that they're willing to have fun. Like, I mean, we saw South Park get nominated for Best Song,
Yeah.
and Robin Williams performed the hell out of it. Like, that Blame Canada live performance at the Oscars was fantastic. So you can't even say it's too much of a comedy song. That doesn't really matter.
No.
It should have been the two of them going head to head.
That would have been masterful to see live. I mean, Jack Black would have killed it. He would have killed it.
And he's shown throughout the year that going on stage and dressing up and doing the music video, like, he's willing to go for it. So I think that was one of the most. It's the snub that not a lot of people were talking about, but I really felt that as well too. Like, as soon as
I don't know how that happened.
As soon as watching it, I was like, this is going to end up being Best Song.
I mean, that's got to be one of the biggest snubs of this year's Oscars.
Yeah, maybe
bigger than the Barbie snub. Like,
maybe in history. I'm going to say it. Maybe in history.
I knew that Barbie would get some kind of a snub when I heard like my aunts talking about it. They were like, they didn't understand. It was the ending line of the movie.
Oh, yeah. You think that's what did it?
It was the last line of the movie that just threw them. And it was just like, what?
I did not expect that last line, so it got me too.
And it was good. It was good. It's just
It was fitting, but
I think that's what put off some of the companies, because I'm pretty much adamant that the Academy is made up of like little old ladies mostly.
You know, that used to scare me because the Nielsen's, the rating system, which probably is irrelevant now, it doesn't really matter anymore, used to wonder where it kind of came from. And then you realize that they were sending these boxes to, but it wasn't a very balanced who was watching those boxes. The people who wanted to make sure certain things weren't on TV were going out of their way to get their hands on these boxes and voting, basically downvoting a lot of good shit.
There's a reason why, NCIS and 2.5 Men were constantly at the top of the ratings.
They made a film about this. What was it with Danny DeVito, the ratings game? Did you ever see that one? That was like one of those late 80s classics where he actually hired Kramer to go to people's houses and watch stuff so they could work the ratings.
Oh, that is very true. I do remember that.
Bones McCoy says this is going to be the most boring Academy Awards of all time. Oppenheimer wins everything, and Anatomy of a Fall is far and away the best film. Actually made, unconventional, no Hollywood choices. Yeah, that was a good movie. I liked it.
The thing, man, yeah. When are they going to start again? And Bones, we agree, Hollywood is full of idiots. But when are they going to stop so much of the circle jerk and start bringing some other people into the party, right? Maybe go for those discoveries like they used to do. The deals on the cocktail napkins, some non-Hollywood made stuff. But I know they gotta stroke each other, which is fine. But there could be a balance, right? You can have some potatoes with your meat, and then you can have some greens, and then you can have some dessert. Balance it out a little. But it wouldn't have been boring if it was Koopa versus Ken.
Koopa versus Ken would have been great.
Koopa versus Ken, and you could have did like get the same American Idol system. Like, you know what? We're going to vote live. Who does America think is the best right here? And just have them involve everybody. I think that would have been ratings gold.
What are the other song nominees anyway? Like, does anybody have any idea? Probably not.
I don't think that is now, but
That'll be on next year's show.
yes. I don't. Well, you want me to look it up, or you want me to go to the next award? Let me see.
No, we can go to the next award.
All right.
We'll
We'll pull that up. All right. The next award is what I called the Lucha Award.
it's called the Lucha Oscar, actually.
The Lucha Oscar. Yeah. So the Lucha Oscar is kind of what it sounds like. You know, best performance by a pro wrestler, or in this case, pro wrestling in a movie. As we know, there are no takes in pro wrestling unless it's a cinematic match. We're going to do it live. You don't get many takes. So Hollywood was finally trying to catch up to that trend, and you're seeing a lot more than The Rock. You're seeing Dave Bautista do award. I think Dave Bautista is going to get a gold man before The Rock is going to get a gold man. And then when John Cena starts stretching and shows what he can do, it's going to be all ever. So
John Cena has adapted this on-screen personality where he just makes gay jokes about himself.
Did you see his OnlyFans account that he created?
No, I didn't.
Yes.
It was great. He got kicked off Twitter X for it. He created an OnlyFans for that movie. He's got, what is it called? Skippy McGee or some shit. It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
So he
Ricky Stenicki.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it. He created an OnlyFans for it, and he started coming up with. John Cena's got a very darker, and he'll go for some deep cut sense of humor, and he was putting it all on the OnlyFans, and then Twitter banned
It
him.
makes perfect sense. If you go back and look at his filmography, it's like 90% of his self-deprecating humor is about him getting
Yeah.
sodomized.
Yes, that's right. His safe word is keep going. Bones, you said, Billie Eilish wins, so who cares what the other nominees are? I think, Billie Eilish is probably going to win. It's probably a safer bet.
I think that's pretty safe at this point.
Yeah, Adam,
So
I don't
think
know.
she's been sweeping it.
Has a wrestler ever won an Emmy, Grammy, Tony, or Oscar? I don't think so. I don't think it's ever happened. But they're going to win one here at the Dose House Show Live Awards, but we're going to have to look that up. I don't even know if...
Well, has there ever even been a wrestling Broadway play? That's something to work on. Can you have your put that in your notebook there?
That would be good.
A wrestling Broadway play.
WrestleMania, turn off the lights.
There you go.
Less injuries.
No, you do the Montreal Screwjob musical.
That's a pop.
I want to see Patty LuPone playing Bret Hart.
I'd love to see that. We're going to have to look it up if a wrestler has ever done it. But let's give her our award here. So I believe, Brian, this one is going to be you. The
Yep.
Lucha Oscar for the best performance by a pro wrestler or pro wrestling in a film.
All right, and I've got it up here in front of me.
There you go. You got to do it dramatically.
Doing like a liar, liar, a goose. All right. So the award, the Lucha Oscar, goes to, of course, the Iron Claw.
I feel like this was a little bit one of a given, and it's a little bit like, for this only being the second time this award has been given out, it was a little bit of I wedged it in a little bit, because you could have said MJF as Lance Von Erich, but his stuff was cut. You can say MJF as the executive producer. He can do this, but I have a lot of notes. Like Mario said, we love this movie, but we have notes, and the biggest one still being, the cutting out of Chris Von Erich.
What's up, Jason Garcia?
Jason,
Welcome
what's
to the
up?
show.
But I think this still, for what this movie created, and to bring back for a small moment of time of what wrestling was like in between 1979 and 1980. Well, actually, it stretched all the way to 92. Zac Efron, man, he crushed it. And the dude from The Bear, I mean, it's just, they had a lot of everything about this movie. Even with the notes, it still probably was the only movie that I remember seeing twice last year. And usually there's a bunch that you go back and see twice, but the only one I went back and saw twice was the Iron Claw.
Yeah, I bought that. I didn't see it twice in the theater, but I bought that on digital as soon as it came out. So I've watched it multiple times since then. I feel the same way as you. It's like Zac Efron wins for best. How the fuck does Zac Efron look like that?
Well, he did work with The Rock on Baywatch, so I'm sure they have the same nutritionist.
Yeah. They go to the same juice bar. But like it's probably the best wrestling movie since The Wrestler, right?
Yeah.
And we're in an age where people really are into behind the scenes of wrestling. That's what they want to hear about. You know, and I think this has a lot. And I guess, like, again, I have notes. My notes are that I as much as I like this movie, I would have loved to seen like a series, like a season of a show.
Yeah.
And maybe this is my pitch. Who owns the rights to the Von Erichs? My pitch is you do a season-long anthology show about the Von Erichs, one episode around each member of the family.
I think that's a great idea.
You know what I mean? Because they left a lot of stuff out, and a lot of the stuff they left out is like sensationalized, right? It's all the dirt sheet stuff.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Kevin being the one that's still around and still kind of controls the rights, he kind of just thought, he was like, oh, you know, he was just glad that they did it, but he didn't want to go too deep into the notes. He was just happy to be here, kind of thing. Yeah, and he just wanted, and his biggest note was just like, I don't care, I just want you to show how much my brothers and I loved each other. Yeah, and you got that. Yeah, and literally, if that was the only note, because Kevin greenlit cutting Chris out. He said it was okay. He said you can just kind of combine him and Mike's story together. Yeah. He's like, as long as it shows that my brothers and I loved each other, and you got that, and how do you not? I mean, there was multiple crying scenes in there, but that end when he's not I'm not a brother anymore. Yeah. I mean, it was such a good movie. It just felt right to finally honor the Von Erichs, because everyone, you know, the Vince McMahon movie, I don't know if that's still coming out, but like the Ric Flair movie, the Andre movie, these are all like kind of like these larger than life characters, but they were characters. Where the Von Erich boys were the Von Erich boys. Those were the Atkinson brothers. You just saw who they were in their farm in the ring. And that's what made this one feel a little more special. There wasn't like, they weren't working a Von Erich brother gimmick. They were the Von Erich brothers. Yeah. And and meeting Carrie and Kevin, I mean, they were exactly like that in person. Exactly like that. There was so that's why I was just pretty mesmerized by Zac Efron, which props to A24 as well for getting that Kevin Von Erich / Zac Efron action figure out there. You got to get your hands on that one. But
well, I think too, like going back to that question before, are we ever going to see an actual wrestler win an award? I mean, that's going to be, I think Batista is definitely going to be the one who ends up getting something first. I mean, because we've shown that the topic of wrestling has been nominated. We saw Mickey Rourke get nominated for The Wrestler. Yep. Like even, I mean, it's a separate type of, you know, combat sport, but we saw with, you know, Warrior. Right. We saw really good performances and that we're getting some nominations. So I think definitely Batista is going to be the one who, with just the level of work that he's churning out, whether it's a wrestling movie or not, he's going to get something just because of the pure dedication he has to bettering himself at the craft of actual like acting. He's not trying to be a movie star. He wants to be a legitimate actor, and he's making really wise choices. And I think that the work that he's putting in on these films is kind of catching the eye of a lot of directors too. So
for sure.
Look, if there was an award for angriest performance, Batista would have multiple Oscars already. Especially in Dune 2. The Dune 2 is not nominated for anything because it just came out, but that's the angriest performance I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. You know?
Oh yeah, he bounced the guy's head off the console a few times. Yeah. Yeah, I Mario, you had a great take on this, and this is in our video vault if you guys want to dig around in there, of the old agent swap of having the Rock and Batista swap agents.
100%. Yeah.
Rock's just like, I'm Rock, just give me a jungle and I'll go. Yeah. Where Batista's trying to get it. I mean, dude, that's pretty baller that he got to be in Blade Runner and Dune, and his performance And Knock at the Cabin, it was great.
He's great in Knock at the
And
Cabin.
even like Glass Onion,
Glass Onion, he was
Glass
great in that
Onion's really
too.
good, yeah.
pulling in great performances all over the place.
So yeah, he would have been somebody that I would maybe you'll win this award next year.
And for a
Dave.
while there, The Rock was kind of starting that a little bit. I mean, he was taking some chances, like him popping up in Be Cool at such an early point in his career with a great little performance was
Yeah.
nice. And then doing Pain and Gain. Like you've seen
yeah,
him,
he was
he's
great in
he
that.
had the desire, but I think he got a little.
I think he got cold feet. He had some of those early, like, sort of indie style performances that were really good in, like you said, Pain and Gain. He's really good in Southland Tales, which didn't do very well, but it's an interesting movie.
Yeah.
And he's really good in it. And then there's a like a rated R action movie he did really early called Faster.
Oh yeah, Faster's great.
And it's like it's you know, it's not like anything he does these days where he's just a jungle steamboat captain. And it's like literally the movie's great. He gets out of jail. The day he gets out of jail, he goes to get revenge for whoever put him in jail, and it just continues from there. Really good. But
right.
yeah, I heard he's leaning back into some A24 stuff,
Good.
and he's gonna take some chances.
I mean, he kind of took a chance by turning heel. I mean, that's and coming back to WWE as a board
Yeah.
member, he kind of took a little bit of a chance,
And
but
it seemed like he was uncomfortable in that at the beginning.
He was.
easing into it.
he's definitely easing into it.
He's
But
like-
like Adam said, he's so the evolution of Dave Bautista as an actor is respectable. He was shaky, and it worked. I think Rock, like you said, he was easing into it because he got cold feet. I think the first time we went back to what he knew, where Bautista was just taking roles and trying to get in there. I mean, he's a big part of why Guardians works so well. I mean, that's the epitome of an ensemble. It was the perfect cast of everybody coming together, and that had a lot to do with Dave. And he doesn't even want to. He looks at it fondly, but just doesn't want to do it anymore. You know, but he's like you said, he was shaky. I agree with that, and he just made it work. He kept doing stuff, and I think we're going to see a lot more cool stuff from him. But
Shout out to wrestlers who act. I think
Yes,
it's great.
wrestlers
work,
who
work,
act.
Work is work,
yeah, work is work.
and we respect you.
All right. Next award is going to be for the best action sequence. Best action sequence, that's right, and Mario will be the presenter of the best action sequence award, but we'd like to kind of, I think this one is a little self-explanatory, but I don't know if we want to add any color around that.
Well, I mean, we've all seen action movies. The first action movie was literally just like a train pulling into a depot, but people lost their minds because they were like, "The train's coming right at me." That's a shoot.
Yeah. The coming at you.
So, like, things have evolved a lot since then. Since then, we had we've had car chases, we've got gunfights, and I think we've gotten to the point where pretty much you can do anything you want. Like, you can do anything. You used to not be able to make a Captain America movie, or what is it, Avengers movie?
Yeah, it was
That's
impossible.
easy. There's 30 of them now.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even realize it till yesterday. We went to Terror Tuesday that I would put Army of Darkness as almost a little bit of an action movie too.
What a great movie to see on the big screen. Like, I had never seen it on the big screen.
It had a lot of action
It plays
elements.
way better.
Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, it was really, really good, and it was at that time. What was it, like 88? I think it was around 88.
That was Army of Darkness was like 92.
Oh, it was 92.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Evil Dead 2 was like 88.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was Bruce Campbell. The chin, if chins could kill.
Yeah.
Right. He had the action look. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to derail us, but
So, like, there was a lot of action this year,
it was.
and this is the best action sequence of the year, according to our judges.
All right.
We've got the envelope right here, and we'll open it up. Sorry, I should have done like a drum roll sound effect. I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, they do that. Huh?
All right. Okay. And the best action sequence of the year is John Wick 4, The Dragon's Breath gunfight. Jeff, did you see John Wick 4?
Oh yeah. So I was I was a little nervous. I totally agree with that. It was phenomenal. I mean, it's like a precursor, and it has our brain trained for Monkey Man, which is coming soon. I thought when you said this, I was a little nervous you were going to choose the stairs on that, which the stairs just really stressed me out. And
Brian, I know you were a big fan of this sequence.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it right now. We'll say this in terms of the Oscars. At this point in movie making, it's a shame that we don't have like a best stunt award because of how much.
Yeah, 100%.
Not even like crazy like stunt work, but just even basic stuff. There's so much, and it impacts movies so much now that it's really kind of crazy that we don't have that. And so, over the last few years, we've seen the bar get raised and raised and raised a little more each time, whether it's, Tom Cruise doing some kind of crazy thing for Mission Impossible, or even in animated, seeing a lot of the stuff that they did with Spider-Man this time. That whole chase sequence is a fantastic thing. But watching this movie, I mean, you go to John Wick expecting to see like that giant action set piece, and John Wick 4 is full of so many different ones.
A lot, yeah.
But I think that the way they took this and made it something completely brand new, going overhead for the entire fight, introducing the Dragon's Breath rounds, which we hadn't seen in the movies before.
So what was going on with those rounds again? Like I remember that part.
So
they're just explosive shotgun shells?
Yeah, they're incendiary shotgun rounds. And you see it a lot in video games. You see this, like, it's big in Call of Duty, it's big in Fortnite. They have these kind of Dragon's Breath rounds that kind of explode upon impact. And so getting to see that, and the way the way they shot it with the one take kind of style, going overhead drone style with that, it was just, I thought it was one of the most inventive pieces of filmmaking just in general, much less they did it with an action sequence like that. And just the stunt team alone having to work like that. And granted, we know it's not one take. There's some clever use of editing and stuff like that, but just the planning that went into it and the execution of it all, pun intended, was just, I think, leaps and bounds above anything else that's come out.
Yeah, I think the two things that really strike me, that is, one, it's masterful editing, because it, like you said, the amount of, I wouldn't even know where you even do the cuts or where the take starts and begins. It flows so well and it blends so well and it's so stylized. It's great. And then, yeah, again, the No Stuntman Award. Like, I thought after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I felt like there was a small push for, like, to finally fix this snub, because the stuntmen in this movie, the amount of bumps they're taking and the way they're taking and the way they're selling everything, maybe they don't do it because it would just be too hard to pick. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think the biggest case for it before, recently was Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie is essentially one giant stunt set piece.
Right.
And showed how integral stunt work like that is, even in just regular films. It's so important, and it's becoming more and more. You're starting to see that, back in the 70s, we saw all these directors who were influenced by like the 40s and 50s. And then as you get into the 80s and 90s, you see all those directors that were inspired by those 70s filmmakers. And I think now you're starting to see all these stunt coordinators who grew up watching all these great 80s action flicks are now being put in charge. And they're wanting to bring something fresh and kind of add to it in their own way. And so you're starting to see a lot more of the directors coming from that kind of stunt team background and they have a great flair for what makes a good set piece work like that. And then they're given the reins to actually craft a story on it. And so you're starting to see films that kind of take advantage of that a lot more.
I mean, that's always been a thing, hasn't it been, where the stunt coordinator becomes a director. You have that with, like, what Burt Reynolds' guy, Hal Needham, right? Directed, like, a bunch of his movies. And then, like, you even look at, like, the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood expansion book there. We talk about how Cliff Booth became a director after that, right? And started,
right.
like,
Yes.
directing the action movies. It's definitely something that's not recognized, but I'm like, if you say they started that category, wouldn't they have to just, like, give the first one to, like, Jackie Chan or somebody?
I feel like, yeah, you're going to have to retroactively
Like, they have to, like,
go back.
retroactively give people awards.
You can give them like a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah, or something like that. I mean, is it best stunt work in a film or, like, best stunt? So then it's just like the one time the dude fell through a greenhouse or whatever. And it's like, that's what it says on your Oscar.
I feel like
For falling through a greenhouse.
I almost, again, maybe this is an argument for multiple stunt awards. Like, why wouldn't they, even if they decided they didn't want to air it, they're starting to get towards where they're not airing every award like they did before. But you still should honor these people.
I mean, I think it could easily be a technical achievement Oscar.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, I mean, but I just think that even then, I think the overall, same way you would do, like, you do a production design. It's not just based on, or even costume. It's not just based on a single costume. It's based on the overall product. You have your parts of your film that you submit. And so I think that having achievement in stunt work or something like that is kind of where to go with it. Because even if it's not something crazy, like we saw, 1917 was a great example of.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like a giant stunt piece, but so much stunt work goes into crafting something on that kind of scale that you really kind of have to acknowledge stuff like that. Because, I mean, this year alone, you would have seen a lot of other films get nominated for stunt work just based on, I mean, hell, you could even give it to Barbie for the beach fight if you wanted to. Because there's so much actual good stuff being done now. And so I think that it doesn't necessarily have to be like, quote unquote, an action set piece, but I think that there's so much great stuff being done through stunt work that it's really kind of, I think it's time. I think it's one of those where it's time to make an exception and make that category exist. Yeah. Even if it's not on the main program, you can do that separately like they do. But I think that having something to recognize stunt work is definitely something that's long been needed.
Right. Adam says we have costume design, but not stunts. I mean, that makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
You have like 4 different categories of sound mixing, which is a craft, and I understand that. But I mean, not one stunt.
Yeah. And there probably should be multiple.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So let's work on that,
John. Yes. We'll start a campaign. But yeah, good pick, Mario. John Wick. Did they announce?
I didn't pick these.
5?
This is the Academy.
Oh yeah, there's the Academy.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm not like just picking these by myself.
Sorry, I thought you were still
alone.
moonlighting with PricewaterhouseCoopers. Is there a 5? They announced 5, right? John Wick 5.
I haven't seen anything official yet.
I saw a spinoff announced for the Continental, which I have not watched yet.
Yeah. It's been hinted at. I don't think they've said anything. I don't think they're going to set anything in stone until they start filming.
Look, there's nothing else. Like all this is futile. You can't. There's no John Wick universe without John Wick in it. It's just not going to happen. Just give up. Tell the studios, just give that up. Give Keanu $50 million to make John Wick 5, and then just call it a day.
And I want to see Batista as the bad guy in that too.
Batista be good in that,
Oh man, he would be phenomenal.
But like, here's the thing: John Wick 4 probably could have pretty easily been 2 movies. I feel like
for sure.
I think they could have. I think they really like over delivered on that. You know, it's like they did. It was like they thought it was the last movie they were ever going to make, or anyone was going to make. Because I mean, it's great, and you're just like, it's like one of those places where you go where they just like give you endless amounts of meat, like they slice it off of the thing, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, you're not turning the block over.
It just keeps going, and none of it. I wouldn't want to cut any of it. It's just like. How long was it? 3 hours?
It was long.
Yeah, it was long. It was long. 2.5 hours or so.
So I don't know.
No,
and it doesn't take a moment. There's not a single moment where it just pauses to take a breath.
Yeah, and it just gets cooler. More cameos. You had Donnie Yen and Marco Zaror. Though they could have had their own movies.
Right.
Each of them.
Well, Donnie, is he in the Ballerina? One spinoff?
I don't know. Nobody's watching that. Again, it doesn't make any sense. I really like John Wick. Well, here's this show about a ballerina for you. What do you think?
So you're saying Hollywood's full of idiots? Just saying.
Yeah.
All right. The next award is for the best episode. The best episode award.
The best episode here of forgetting how to run everything. Okay. We all watch shows, right?
Yes.
Jay, you watch shows, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm a show guy.
B Rose, you watch shows.
Oh yeah.
Shows.
I think whenever you watch a season of a show or whatever, there's always like a standout episode.
Yeah.
So this award is out to the best episode of any show that came out last year.
All right, I like it.
Pretty much any, yeah.
Because there's been some shows that are, and their episodes that are like cinematic. You know, Mike has talked about this on a lot of Stranger Things episodes, feeling very cinematic. A lot of the new Fear the Walking Dead, the regular Walking Dead spinoffs, very cinematic. So this award has me intrigued, and we are going to find out who the winner is right now before.
I'm just going to make a prediction. I'll probably be a little upset, but I'm guessing it's not going to be an episode of Bluey, which is a travesty, but I'll contain my disappointment.
You're right. It's not Bluey, because the winner of the Best Episode Award is The Bear. The Bear, episode Forks. Which, again, I am going really slow on. There's a part of me that I watched this first episode, season 1, episode 1, and I freaking loved it. And there's like a part of me that, like, I know when I'm going to go on this journey, it's going to be something that I'm not going to want to end. And I knew the new season's spinning up in a couple of months. But that being said, all in on spoilers. Let's talk about The Bear episode Forks.
You'll lean into the binge when you have a time. They're very bingeable. It's short. They're short. They're 30-minute episodes. So you'll plow through it. So yes, there's episode season.
This is season 1, episode 7.
No, this is season 2, episode 7.
Okay.
It's called Forks. And if you said you've only seen one episode of The Bear?
Yeah. Yep.
B Rose, have you seen all of The Bear?
No, that's one of this and Shogun are the two shows I'm kind of waiting on. The problem is with The Bear, everybody that I know watches it and talks about it. So I'm going to have to, it jumped to the top of my queue where I'm going to have to watch it because everybody talks about it.
Yeah.
It's something to definitely get through. It's a great show, and it's not just about running a restaurant or being a chef. Like, I think I was telling a friend about it. He's like, well, my brother's a chef. I bet he'd like that show. I was like, no, it's about more than that. It's just really about the wanting to make something and wanting to build something, you know, and how you do that and what you have to go through and what you have to sacrifice. Anyway, this episode Forks, I forget this. We really need a research team. This character's name, he's Cousin. Okay. He goes by Cousin.
Yes, I do.
He's the cousin. And then when you get to season 2 of The Bear, there's like this whole thing where everybody sort of like gets to go do some training, you know? They send everybody who works at the beef to go do some training. And Cousin gets to go work at this fancy restaurant, and they put him in charge of forks. And that's his job at the fancy restaurant, is to clean the forks. One of the best episodes of TV I think I've ever seen.
Wow.
I told you I really popped for this because we were in that Michael Mann phase a few months ago. And then this episode, you know, The Bear is set in Chicago, and it's like they start using the music from Thief throughout this episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's really it's just really great. And it's just like he gets to this. I'm going to spoil it for you, but it'll make sense.
Go for it.
You know, he gets to this. He gets this job, basically an intern at this really fancy restaurant, and he thinks it's just, you know, like they're screwing with him. It's like, why did you send me to do this? Why am I cleaning the forks? And then he ends up just buying into the whole premise of the restaurant and becoming a part of it, and just leaning into it and like really just learning to love his job, you know, and taking pride in his job. And the whole time it's like set to the music from Michael Mann's Thief. Really great episode.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, you should see that one. And then it just kind of like it slows down at the end, and you kind of get a sense of like what, just like he's there for it. It's just like it's this build of where he hates this job at the beginning, but by the end of the week he loves it, and then he's got to like go. Yeah, I think it's probably the best episode of the year.
Like it.
It's not a great explanation, but yeah.
No, it's very good. I was actually trying to pull up all the actors because I just feel like everybody is just starting to pop on here, right? I mean, we just took.
Well, this guy's the Thing now, right?
Yeah, he is the Thing. Ebon Moss Bacharach. Is that how you say his name? Bacharach?
Cousin.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Cousin. Jeremy Allen White, Io Adebiri, who was just on SNL. I mean, yeah, the show is just popping and everything's about. I can't believe it came out a couple of years ago too. Like when I just saw it start popping, I just didn't even realize that there was already multiple seasons.
2 seasons,
and another one right around the corner. So I'm super excited about it. But I'm a big fan of Ebon Moss and Jeremy Allen White now because of this. So I'm looking forward to that episode.
You'll enjoy this. So this is one to throw on in the plane, dude. It's like you'll blast through them and you'll be like, wow.
Oh man, can't wait.
The end of season 2 is just so great. The finale is like, I want to say it's like 3 episodes long. They don't just do one. They stretch it out.
Yeah, I had like 7 different people share the clips of the family dinner with me, and I was just like, I saw that, and I was like, okay, well, this looks fucking great, so I need to.
Yeah. The family dinner episode's intense.
He had a meme too, Ebon, when he was like losing it and driving down listening to Taylor Swift. That's how I first was introduced to the bear, was through a meme. So, but all right, you guys want to take a break before we come back? We got a lot of good awards: most deserving, best celebrity, biggest surprise, scariest film of the year, and we're gonna go out and give those awards when we come back after these fake messages.
We'll return after these messages.
私は美味しいハムを届けます。あなたに美味しい糸ハム。私のプライド、伝承の味、伊藤ハムの贈り物。
アリアリアリアリアリのみほいアリのみほいアリのみほい大丈夫シュワちゃん
みゆちゃん、あれのみぽい。
武田。昨日街でばったり貧乏神に会ってね。いやお久しぶり、最近飲みに来ないじゃないかって言ったら、ごめん、不景気で忙しくって。
ウイスキーを楽しもう。サントリーロイヤル。
エルメントールでひんやり入浴。津村アイシングバス。
Dennis, there was no film in the camera.
What? ハワイも当たる。
For crying out loud.
Maggie,
It's not here.
Nihonome toaster. I already put it in.
No, Ahiru-chan.
ミスターホッパーお気に入りのアヒルちゃん、今当たります。津村の
いい湯だな。
まで。
力こぶる日清カップヌードル。
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday comes again.
毎日
Sunday,
毎
Monday,
日
Tuesday,
日立の
Wednesday,
細長は
Thursday,
静
Friday,
か
Saturday,
サラサラ
Sunday comes again.
きれいな空気体には細長が気持ちいいんです日立のビッグフローウェルネス
日立ふれあい感謝デー日立のお店
私は美味しいハムを贈ります。ハムの名品、伝承の味、伊藤ハムの贈り物。伊藤ハム is 美味しい。Centauri.
Those are good products.
Yeah, that's great. I know it's hard for you to see that, and it's hard for us too. I mean, she was a big part of our show. She was there day one with us.
Day one,
sitting there in the chair. And I feel I'll change the subject too, and apologize for saying fake messages because there's nothing fake about any of those messages.
No, you can still get that product. You can get those noodles. You can get that air conditioner.
Yeah, those cup of noodles. It's phenomenal to see all those celebrities, and you explained this during the break to us. There was no YouTube when they were making these, so they thought no one would ever see them.
Exactly.
And surprise, now everybody sees them.
That's how they were able to get away with so much too.
Yeah, that's how most people got away with everything, is that there was no phones and no internet.
Yeah.
So you couldn't film anything and upload it immediately.
And those probably paid really well, I'm guessing, to fly them over there. And
cup of noodles?
Yeah.
They sell millions of cup of noodles a year.
So I'm sure those were nice paydays. I'm sure that probably enough to buy one of their houses, right?
And Stallone ham.
Yeah, Stallone. I'd buy Stallone ham now.
Yeah. Was that in Rocky 2? Was he selling ham in those ads?
I know he did it in the morning. He did like an American Express.
You smell mainly.
Yeah.
I mean, who thought we'd be spending, millions of dollars a year on salad dressing from Paul Newman?
Yeah, but here we are. It's all for charity, too. I still get some of Newman's own, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the next award. This award is what we call the most deserving. The most deserving.
Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. All right, just pretend.
That moving pop, Bo. I mean, that.
All right, sorry.
Part was its thing.
I told you I was doing the graphics at 4 a.m. That's my fault.
But I think most deserving is probably pretty much self-explanatory.
Well,
right?
no, B Rose is going to explain it.
All right.
Yeah, so this one I thought, there's a ton of movies that get recognition and that fully deserve it. And then there's always the snubs. And then there's some movies that really get nothing at all. And, I think a lot of the movies that we end up liking for one other reason will get tossed into the, kind of I don't want to say the weaker categories, but it's the categories that, like all the big popcorn flicks are always going to end up in best sound editing or best visual effects, things like that. But then every once in a while, there's movies that are really deserving and they don't often get recognition. Like Black Panther was able to sneak through and get a Best Picture nomination, which was fully deserved. But then there's a lot of movies that really kind of make a splash and deserve tons of awards and will end up getting no nominations or just one or two, and they'll get shoved off in those categories. And so this award was kind of like, this is the film that deserves way more acknowledgement and recognition than it got.
Okay, fair enough. Then Mario, I think that'll be
you have
the vote there for most deserving. And that's fair. I mean, in Oscars over the years, they've tried to change that, right? They used to just go for the critical darlings. They didn't go for anything that was box office. I think box office achievement this year was created just for Barbie for snubs. But, all right, go ahead, Mario.
The award for most deserving this year goes to Godzilla Minus One.
Yeah.
I think this is a big one this year for all of us.
Yeah.
I know, like, just for me personally, going into 2023, the last thing that I expected to be on my bingo card was to be surprised by a great Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
And this is a movie that is way better than we deserve.
Yeah.
Just because historically, we, especially the U.S., has done garbage by Godzilla, which is why
100%.
we shouldn't be we don't deserve to be trusted with it, and this movie proves exactly why.
Let's just face it, Americans don't know how to book Godzilla.
No, they do not. No,
they always book Godzilla as like an anti-hero. No, Godzilla is a heel.
Yeah.
And this movie has no business being as good as it is.
Yeah.
And it just is. And I remember seeing the trailers for it, and I was like, okay, this could be interesting, but it's a Godzilla movie. How good could it possibly be? And I remember seeing it and just being blown away, so much so that I had to take my daughter because she's always looking for brand new movies. And I was like, this is going to be something that she is not expecting. And because she likes anime, I was like, this might be a nice tie-in to show her like a
Oh, yeah.
good old-fashioned monster movie and tie it in. And as a 12-year-old, she was just captivated by it too. And I think though it did what most Godzilla movies, the good ones, do, is it's like Jaws. Yeah, we're going to see him, but you've got to be able to, we need to be related to. And this movie does a good job of getting you invested in these other characters, the people, the humans on the ground. And we treat Godzilla like kind of Jaws, where he just pops up every once in a while.
Yeah.
And we get those spectacular moments, but the heart of the movie is the people that are going through this. And they did a good job of giving us characters that we're invested in and actually care about. And so you don't root for Godzilla to kill everybody. You're actually a little annoyed, like, slow down.
It took me a second because I'm so used to him being booked in the U.S. as, like you said, either an anti-hero or straight up babyface, that it took a second to realize he's stomping the shit out of some people. I was like, wait, I remember this guy. And man, it was so good. And there was a lot of dramatic effects in there too, of just like coming together and figuring out, okay, how are we going to take this guy? Like, how do we take him out? We're going to do this. And then it wasn't working. It hit all the beats, and it made me feel like I just finished watching Saturday morning cartoons, and I moved to the afternoon where it was going to be late morning was wrestling, and then in the afternoon you had martial arts movies and Godzilla movies. And in the theater, I told you, Mara, it made me feel that. So this is very deserving.
100%. To me, this is one of the best movies of the year. Like,
hands down.
This is in my top 3 for sure. And you know, did you see the black and white version, Brian?
I did not. I was going to try and go, and I didn't get a chance to.
I saw them both. It is an exceptional upgrade.
I only saw the black and white one.
It makes more sense in black and white for some reason. I think because it's got the World War II setting, so it feels like an old movie. And I think, Godzilla, I mean, the effects are great. Because the thing about visual effects, it's not how great they are, it's how well they're utilized.
Right.
And they utilize them great, but they're not as clean as Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever. But in black and white, they blend a lot better, you know? And it feels organic, it feels real. You definitely catch out. But, I mean, this is, like you said, the second time I saw it, when I saw it in black and white, I was like, I don't know that I like anything better than this. This is the best, and like just great writing, great booking. I mean, when they that one scene where they drop the entire balloon plan of how they're gonna fight Godzilla, I'm just like, what? It's just like no. In any Godzilla movie that comes out in the U.S., no one would ever think that's how you do it.
Yes, exactly.
It's just like, let's just drop a nuke on them. Let's feed him poison. No, we're going to tie balloons to him.
And drown him.
Sink him to the bottom of the ocean and then fly him back up to the top.
Drown him in balloons and then give him constipation going back up.
Like every American version of Godzilla is just like, let's just shoot at him.
Let's just nuke him.
Yeah. Trey Daniels got a lot of picks here.
Trey, I was looking at these, and Trey, we got to screenshot this because this feels like this is going to be 100% spoilers.
Probably
by
so.
Trey here. I'm reading his picks, and I don't see any holes in his theory here.
No, that was solid.
Man, does he work for PricewaterhouseCoopers? Trey, are you an insider? Because that looks pretty dope. But I do. So Godzilla is nominated for an Academy Award, right?
Yeah, it got visual effects, which is warranted. But man, I think even cinematography. I think this movie is beautiful to look at. There's some really beautiful shots, and it's a little disheartening to see a movie that took such a risk not get nominated for more. And there's lots of reasons why these movies don't get nominated, whether they're not submitted, whether they're the politics behind stuff. But I really felt like this is a movie that deserved a lot more than it got. I'm hoping that they do. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't, but I'm hoping that they'll do what they did with Logan and with Mad Max, is they'll do a black and white version, even on digital, because I've got a 75-inch TV at home. This is going to look spectacular in it, so I'm hoping they'll do the black and white version to where I can watch it at home at least.
I want this movie on a 16-millimeter reel that I can play on like a little projector from Stranger Things and just show it on the side of a cabinet. That's what I want.
I love that it's the best visual awards, and it looked like a miniature. You know, this light spoiler, right? The plane flying into his mouth was just like two frozen things, and it was just like, and that's all it was. And I was like, but I felt that. You know, there was nothing special. It didn't take all these computer animators. It was just like, and I just felt that.
It's funny because this came up. I think one time we were talking to Mike the Industry about the new Godzilla that's coming out, where Godzilla's running.
Oh yeah,
like running full, like doing a sprint, and we've never seen Godzilla sprint before.
No, that was the biggest part of Godzilla.
When I saw it, I was like, okay, well, all right, fine, Godzilla's running, but okay, sure, yeah. Why can't Godzilla run? But then I saw this one, and it's just like, oh right, no, Godzilla walks slow. Godzilla takes very intentional steps.
I don't want
slowly.
Zack Snyder's Godzilla. I want
we don't
slow,
want
Shaun of the Dead style zombie Godzilla.
Yeah.
Well, no, great pick. Very, very well deserving. Trey, appreciate it. Like I said, those are solid picks. We had a good spot for Oppenheimer and Barbie that you can go back and check out. But something tells me, like Godzilla, we may see them again. So stick around. But those are really solid picks you have there. All right. So that was
most deserving.
Oh, okay. There we are. Next up is the Best Celebrity Award. And spoiler alert, Trey, this is not going to be Will Smacky Smith. I think he cashed in his card. He's going to be no longer eligible for sure.
Best celebrity.
Celebrity.
They give awards for acting on a regular basis. Like every awards show has awards for acting. But I mean, in a lot of cases, I feel that it's really, the awards just go into the person. And you're saying, thank you for entertaining me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Denzel in every movie is just Denzel.
True.
It's just, and anyway, this year, there was a lot of big celebrities, folks that were just all over. Like Margot Robbie was a big one. But I think that there was just one person who stood out above his or her peers, and just became the best celebrity of the year for lots of reasons, which we can discuss after the reveal.
I like to hear it. I'm excited to hear it.
I don't think I can accept this award. I'm sorry.
Well, since you're on the panel. All right. So the award for Best Celebrity goes to Pedro Pascal.
Amen.
No surprise. Smoke a fatty.
Fran Drescher was a close second, Anthony. You're right. Was anybody bigger than Pedro Pascal
Gilbert?
this year?
No. Smoke a fatty for Internet Daddy. I think he's just doing it right. There's something about him that's really, I think it must be all his years he put in the reps. I feel like the Pedro Pascal we see is the Pedro Pascal who he really is. I don't think this is a gimmick he's working. So I think this is a well-deserved award. I can't think of anybody bigger this year than Pedro.
Well, he's done the thing. Like I was just saying, Denzel is just Denzel, right? Will Smith is just Will Smith in these movies, pre-slap. But now Pedro has become just Pedro.
Yeah.
And he was on, aside from he was in The Mandalorian. I don't know if that was last year, but then we've got The Last of Us. What else was he in? The movie with Nick Cage, was that last year?
Yeah, The Importance.
Yeah, okay. That was actually almost a year.
But I think one of the huge moments was the SNL appearance.
Yeah.
Twice, right? He's been on twice. That SNL episode is probably one of the best episodes of the year, right?
Yeah, hands down.
He murdered SNL.
He did. There's just everything about him, and then he just has this worked feud that he has going with Kieran Culkin over the awards season that just comes off so cool, to try to make these celebrities humanize them a little bit, and instead of feeling like they're above you, they just feel like they're peers and friends that are busting each other's balls.
I think the best compliment that you can give him, and regardless of talent or looks or anything like that, he is one of the most just flat out genuine people.
Yeah.
He's not trying to be anybody other than just who he is. And I think you see it, like when he did his SAG Award speech and, he was getting emotional up there. He's someone who doesn't feel, he's not expecting to win anything.
No.
He's just along for the ride.
Expect that.
And
he was
see
flustered.
that genuine just appreciation for where he's at.
Yeah.
And he continues on the upswing. What's coming next? Gladiator 2, Fantastic Four. What other numbers are ahead?
The Last of Us 2.
The Last of Us 2. The sky's the limit with this kid.
This guy and the Mandalorian and Grogu are actually getting a theatrical film. Too,
He's in everything simultaneously. There's no better celebrity at this moment in time.
No, I
that sketch in where in SNL where he's playing the mom, the protective mom, and the girlfriend gives him the cookie tin, and he dumps it all in the trash and then fills it with the sewing kit. That's the best joke ever written, or at least the best joke of the last 10 years.
Oh man, when he did that, I could smell the thread.
Have you ever seen a cookie in one of those?
No.
Do they come with? I didn't realize they came with cookies.
Just sell the tin by itself.
I thought they just came empty, like a trapper keeper.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of Pedro by any stretch. Yeah, Brian, you can speak on Trey's comment there about Joel in season 2. I think that's a big thing. I don't know if that's a spoiler for anyone who didn't play the game, but I think it's kind of like the worst kept spoiler. I think everybody kind of suspects. I think now the surprise is how are they going to handle it?
Yeah, I'm still of the mindset. I'm hoping that they'll take, the second game and split it into 2 seasons because it's such a robust game that I think there's a good separation point to where you can do it. But if they don't, and if they just bring, the whole game into season 2, it's gonna be a hard one to watch.
Yeah.
Because the game was a hard one to play. It's such a one of those culture pop moments, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
And so it's such a devastating part of the game, and you're just like, and then once you see the first season and how good it is and how loyal it was to the game, you kind of deep down for season 2 are like, I hope they kind of stay close to it, but then I hope they deviate it greatly.
Well, I think what Mario is saying here with this best award, what you're saying that is there anybody not? He's everywhere, and this could backfire for that. This could turn into their Walking Dead with Negan and Glenn moment where a lot of people never came back to Walking Dead after that, even though it was 100% down to the panel. The panel looked identical of what they did. They stayed as honest as they could, and it lost a lot of people because Glenn was the heart of the show, and they didn't see that coming. Now you get Pedro, who's way bigger. Well, Steven is growing. Steven Yeun's growing, but Pedro is like everywhere. It's gonna be huge news, but you worry about what could be the effects of that.
We've already seen, to a smaller degree, we've seen what happens because even though he was pretty much unknown, when we see, spoiler alert, his demise in Game of Thrones,
oh man,
he was a character that was in a short span beloved by everyone. He was just so magnetic on that show.
He was. And
so watching that, as someone who hadn't read the books, I was dismayed. I was like, oh my God. I still watched afterwards, but I was even shocked by that moment about how dare they take this character that I've grown to love so quickly and was fascinated by, and now he's just gone.
That was definitely a jump out of your chair moment for sure, because you suspected it, and then they swerved us, and I'm like, okay, he made it, and then all of a sudden
double swerve.
Yeah, it was a double swerve. Yeah.
He was in Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Have y'all seen that?
Oh yeah, he's great in that. He's got a nice little Southern Texas accent that he's using, and he's got his little lasso that he uses.
Yeah, he's
but
really good in that.
Yeah, he's really great in that.
He was. I mean, everybody hated Wonder Woman 84, but he was good. He was good in that too.
Yeah,
he was the best part of that movie.
Yeah,
probably.
He's really been great.
I mean,
in just about
the first
everything.
thing I saw him in was Narcos, and he was good in that too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just everywhere, and like I he's got stuff coming up. And for a shoot, I'm not sure about this whole Fantastic Four thing. I'm very much on the fence on that on a lot of ways, which that's a whole other podcast. But I think in Gladiator 2, he's gonna murder Gladiator 2.
Oh my God, yeah.
He's Gladiator 2. I mean, yes, that's gonna work.
Yeah, that's a huge. It's gonna be a huge box
If
office.
if the character's name is actually Gladiator 2.
Oh God,
he's gonna kill that movie. And Denzel's in that movie too, I think.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think that I'm really curious on what they're gonna do with that. Back to your Fantastic Four thing. He was the casting I was ironically the most nervous about once it was rumored that, and then it kind of leaked, and then they kind of backpedaled, and I think that added to my nervousness. But then I've been listening to some stuff and trying to stay spoiler free for the most part, but with all the Marvel reboots going on and what they're talking about, how they're going to handle the Fantastic Four and how it's going to factor in, and why that Valentine announcement was very, very deliberate and very, very specific, and it's going to kind of play into if they introduce it the way the rumors.
What is your theory? What is? Because I thought they just did it on the same day as Madam Web to distract from Madam Web.
Oh, they may have done that too. They definitely may have done that. But the rumor is it's just going to be, they were 60s superheroes and they kind of got trapped in time.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I can kind of buy that, because it's going to be like, how are you going to sell that the most important family in all of Marvel has been there all along?
I just don't know what's going to... I don't know about this whole thing. If I'm honest.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four works in theory, but it's never worked before, and I think he's my least favorite part of the casting, and only because he's everyone else I feel like disappears into the character, and he's Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Where everybody else just feels like they could just be the character. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't know. And plus, comic book movies are in a weird place. So who knows what we could get.
Well, I mean, if you don't count Madam Web or any of the Sony balonies, we're only getting one this year. So we'll have some time to let it breathe.
Yeah.
Oh, Trey actually liked Madam Web. We haven't seen it, so I don't know. That I just personally just don't think Sony knows how to make a live action anymore.
I tried to see Madam Web, and the AMC app tried to talk me out of it. Was just like, are you sure you want to see this?
Yeah, I definitely am going to watch it. The curiosity is going to get me. So, all right. Next film this next award has me intrigued. Wait, sorry, I misread that. The next award is the biggest surprise. And I was...
Oh, man, I messed this one up again. Okay, biggest surprise.
Surprised, but I surprised myself because I jumped ahead for the next award. But this one is actually my award because again, like you, B-Rose, there's certain movies that you kind of go in and you know what you're expecting. There's always a hype level of all the films, especially with the trailer world that we live in, and there's trailers everywhere, right? You don't see the trailers just in the screens anymore. So my favorite thing is, Mario introduced me to this of just try not to watch the trailer before you see the movie. And if you just see it once and you're like, okay, I'm in, let me go see this. And this kind of happened. I didn't know what to expect with this film. And then I was surprised. I would say the biggest surprise. And I will let you read it so we can talk about it, Brian.
All right.
Thank you to PricewaterhouseCoopers for the envelopes.
All right. The award for biggest surprise goes to Poor Things.
Oh my God. So did you both see this? I know Mario, you see. Brian, did you see this yet?
I haven't yet. I've been waiting because I know that I can't watch it with my kids around.
No, you cannot.
So that's probably gonna be on my list.
No, you cannot. I mean, I enjoyed the hell out of this movie, and I think I had no idea what I was in for.
I'll be watching it during spring break because my kids will be off and they're doing their little spring breaky thing. So Dad's gonna have a little time where he can actually sit down and watch
definitely a spring break movie. If you're driving to South Padre, put on Poor Things.
Yes, and throw
in the car.
Throw some beads.
Look, so here, for a shoot, I only saw half this movie, but what I saw, I completely agree. I think this is like a huge achievement in terms of art direction and costuming and everything. Like someone really took a big swing with this movie. What's Yorgos Lanthimos?
Yeah. That's who it was. Yeah, and Trey said it right here. Just like he was shocked with the amount of nudity, and that's what when people are asking me like, well, how would you describe this film? I would say, what if Tim Burton made a Skinamax film? That's what Poor Things turned it, because it was very stylistic, and I did not expect when I first saw the first bit of nudity from Emma Stone, I was like, oh, they must have got a double. I'm surprised because I mean she's a pretty big actress now that you wouldn't. I think she would have like some kind of nudity clause or something in there, but then it just happened again, and again and again, and it just kept happening. Like, and it just kind of threw me for a loop. And there was a good story there too of like the how you saw the arc of what happened with Mark Ruffalo, how he started versus how he ended, but it was very Edward Scissorhands. It had that feel a little bit of like.
What was most surprising to you?
I think just everything about it. I had no idea that it was going to be a really hard rated R Edward Scissorhands is what it felt like, of like the whole reverse brain stuff. I had no idea what to expect with it.
I thought it was really cool how this is kind of like a Frankenstein takeoff, right?
Yeah.
And every scene she has the Frankenstein shoulder pads.
Yes, exactly.
She's always got the puffy shoulders.
I think it was the best reimagining of Frankenstein that we've gotten in a long time since young Frankenstein.
Imagine if Boris Karloff had done the same thing.
Yeah.
Like in Bride of Frankenstein?
That would have been crazy. Yeah, I think when she grabbed that apple, and I'll let the internet use the imagination. Yeah. It wasn't. I expected a banana. It turned out to be an apple, and then a
banana's too on the nose.
Yeah, it was a little not on the nose. I'm like, what's she doing that? And then, my favorite term is furious jumping now. So you can say furious jumping. It's like, why don't you go F yourself? You can say, why don't you go furiously jump yourself?
Go furiously jump yourself.
Yeah, go furiously jump yourself. So yeah, I just had no idea what to expect. And there was a lot of people like Trey. He's like, he hated it. He's actually surprised it beat out Barbie. But I'm not, because
they're kind of the same movie.
It's very
Barbie and Trey, Poor Things are almost the same.
Discovering themselves. It's like the light version and the dark version
exactly.
of discovering yourself and what it's like to be a woman in this world. But Emma Stone's performance was great. I mean, the amount of bravery it took to do this was nuts. But it was a movie that I'll first shoot. The only reason I went and saw this movie. It's when I watched the trailer, and she said, I'll be right back. I want to go punch that baby. That's all I remember about the trailer. And I just laughed and laughed and laughed, had no idea what the movie was about. And they're like, oh, I want to go see this movie. It's just like, oh, that's the one where she says she wants to punch the baby for no reason. Yeah, man. Let's see. Why did she want to punch the baby? And then I just went on a ride. But yeah, Megan, comparing it to Megan, yeah, it's definitely a woman discovering herself. So I thought that was a big surprise.
The biggest of the year?
Yes, biggest of the year, dare I say. And Trey, we're really looking forward for Megan 2.0. Megan probably would have been the biggest surprise, but I was not surprised because when I saw that trailer, I was like, this movie's going to be great, and it was great. So I was not surprised.
Well, what's funny, too, with this one, obviously I haven't seen it yet, but, I know the gist of the movie. I've heard so much described, and there's a lot of stuff out there. I don't think that this movie with her happens 5 years ago. I think
No.
that her having the experience that she had with him on The Favorite and seeing how well that movie turned out, I think gave her the trust to be able to do what she's done in this movie.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Jeff, that when you have a director you trust, you'll do whatever they say?
I think a lot of actors and definitely fall under that for sure. And I think it's probably safe.
If you trust the director, you'll be like, okay, I'll try what you say.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it has to come down to like,
Because I know one time we did a thing and you got thrown off a horse.
And it worked.
well, I don't even think it necessarily comes down to trust in the way of like, I trust that everything's going to be okay. I think a lot of it comes down to, I trust that even if it's not fun or if it's too hard or if I have the worst time, you're going to get something out of it that I trust is going to be great. Because if you look at people like David O. Russell, who's just one of the biggest jerks in Hollywood, yet still has all these people lining up to work with him.
He still gets folks to work with him, yeah.
It's because they know that even though he's just a huge douchebag, that the final product is going to be, they trust that it's going to be worth it. And then I think you see that even with this, like I think this is a perfect case of a performer trusting in the process of what's going to happen because of the working experience that she had on the previous film.
And that's you can kind of go in two directions with that, right? We talked about this before with the Quentin Tarantino, the director. He's just like, circle that take. He's like, no, I'm a director, not a selector. I'm going to direct exact. And he's probably one of the few people that you actually see where his mind's eye is coming from, and he sees the performance in it, and he's like, I'm going to get you to do it. Where sometimes, the Kubrick way of just like, I'm going to make you to do 47 takes and let's see what can really just grind, this blood out of a stone type of thing. How are you going to get that? There could be 2 takes from it, but if you trust the director and you love the work that they've done before, if you put your ego aside and just like, okay, I'm going to go on this ride because I know what a David O. Russell movie like. I know what a QT movie looks like. I trust you. I think it will get you to take leaps that you wouldn't normally take on your own.
Yeah. Nobody joins a David Fincher movie thinking they're going to get him to only do 3 takes. You know what you're in for, and you're just prepared that it's going to end up being what you want it to be.
Right.
Because you trust that person.
Yeah.
You trust them to what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Safe. All right. The next award is the one that had me intrigued earlier. The scariest film of the year. That's right, the scariest film of the year. There's always some sleeper horror movies and there's always ones that don't live up to the hype, but there's always ones that you never saw coming and they do live up to the hype. Spoiler alert, before we do this, I am going to tell you that I already have who's going to win this award next year. Is going to be A24's Civil War. Is probably going to be the most terrifying movie that I've seen in a long time. Even seeing the trailer just gives me
just anxiety,
ick, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be the scariest movie they ever done. So that's going to win this year. But we don't know who won this year. That they're going to win next year. This year, the winner of the scariest film of the year is... Oh, I haven't watched it yet, and it's on the queue. When Evil Lurks.
It's on your Shudder queue, I'm sure.
It is, yeah. Well, again, get Shudder. They don't sponsor us yet, but man, what a fantastic app.
Look, it's understandable. It's one of those things. It's like, it's hard to just say, oh, I want to watch this movie with subtitles right now. You know what I mean? No one ever thinks that, You want to see, we're just bombarded with stuff. But this movie, if you're into horror, I don't know that I saw a more disturbing horror movie this year.
Yeah, you texted me pretty quick after you watched it.
Like, I really liked Talk to Me, and Talk to Me was my top for a long time. But this one is just... Can I explain to you the premise?
Yeah, go for it.
Like, imagine you're in your town or wherever, and your neighbor is possessed by a demon, and just like rotting away in a bed, and just like just completely just burning away flesh, right? Just like, oh, there's a rotting demon person next to me. I guess I should just get rid of that. and you try to get rid of this person, and just all hell breaks loose. I know that I don't think I'm explaining it correctly, but in this world, demon possession's common, and some two brothers, they try to deal with this demon possessed neighbor, and all hell breaks loose, and everybody who comes in contact with them from then on is just screwed.
Was this an impulse watch for you? Like it just happened? I know Shudder was pushing it hard, and it was just at the top of the queue.
No, I saw that it had been playing at Alamo, and then I saw that our friend Rainbow Fright had put it on her site as one of her top ones. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna check that out. And man, this one definitely is worth a watch. It's short. It's got to be 80 minutes, like Army of Darkness last night, but it's just like a Rube Goldberg machine of bad decisions and just things go horribly wrong. Yeah.
I'm looking at here, so it is subtitles because it is international production of Argentina and the U.S. combined. The morning after. Oh no, that's the entire plot. We don't want to read that.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like foreign action films. What's up? What's up, Mike?
Mike, what's up, man?
No, we're still going strong. I think foreign horror films and action films they're just more willing to do more disturbing stuff.
They are, yeah.
You've got a kid in this movie who has autism, and you're trying to deal with the autism kid during the whole murder scenario. You know what I mean? They add these extra layers. It's just, it's worth a watch. And they're just hard to explain. These foreign horror movies. It's not a cocktail napkin explanation.
No, I don't think you can. I think it. We had a short that we made a while ago of just how 70s aesthetic is very hard to replicate. And I think that's created some of the most scary movies in cinematic history came from that time period. I think this Mario falls in the same bucket, right? There's something about an international flavor where they're not afraid to take these chances, and they'll do things. Face it, to make you feel uncomfortable. Horror movies not
without a doubt.
Yeah, they want you to feel uncomfortable if you're going to get the real scares. I mean, there's the Jason X, right, where you're just going for the pops. You're not really scared for say, or even Army of Darkness. It was sci-fi action with horrific elements. Where something like this, even just the title and just the poster alone,
yeah,
and for Shudder to do it, I can totally see that. And then just the Argentina, just being half Puerto Rican myself, I know that the whole Latin culture has this undertone, and Mario, you can speak on this too with your family. There's an undertone of scary when it comes to anything that's supernatural or demonic.
Absolutely. And there's also just this undercurrent of just everyone's trying to keep this a secret. You're trying to keep the demon possessed person on the down low.
Yeah.
They're whispering about it. They don't want to. To me, it's a very unique movie, but it just works really well. When it gets going by the third act, you're just like, whoa. It's super gross, very gross. But it doesn't waste time trying to explain to you what's going on. It just drops you right into this world where just everything is pretty much the same, but demon possessed people is a common annoyance.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Like I said, it's in the queue. It's definitely one of the movies that you got to be in the right frame of mind, and you got to be ready that you're going for a ride. And yeah. I don't take horror movie recommendations from you lightly. I know there's something to it because it's something that you kind of grew into, right? You said when you were younger you didn't watch it.
No, I don't. I'm still terrified of horror movies, and they make me uncomfortable.
But I think when when you became a full-on filmmaker, you kind of see what you're trying to do. They're not easy to make, but when you do it right, man, it just works so well. So I'm excited about this one. And I know, B Rose, you're not a huge horror guy either, right?
Yeah, not a huge. It's one of those things where I as a child even, I never liked being scared. But as I've gotten older, I can appreciate the films. But I'm also a little bit of a snob too. I don't go for a lot of schlocky stuff. I like things that I think have, that take risks and have a little bit of an edge to them and are smart in a way.
Yeah.
And so that's why over the last, 5 to 10 years even, I've really kind of started opening up a little bit more to horror, stuff like that. I'm still not going to, I'm not waiting day one, but I've taken a lot more chances on horror flicks than I have ever in my life before now. Just kind of because I can see how, I don't want to say they're being made better, but I think they're being made by true lovers of the genre.
Yeah.
And I can kind of feel that when I'm watching them.
That's a really good point.
I guarantee somewhere at Blumhouse, at A24, whatever, there is already a written English remake of this script sitting there, because it's perfect fodder for a series of movies, sequels, and everything. It's just this. And again, I every time I pitch a movie, I feel like I don't want to oversell it, because they're usually it's a smaller movie, and like not as many things happen as you would see in like a big Hollywood movie. But the things that happen are impactful, and it's just like, oh, this is such a simple idea that you could do 1,000 times 1,000 different ways. So I bet we'll see a When Evil Lurks English remake,
English version.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
and it'll be called like Night in the City or something like that.
The whole genre, right? The whole horror genre was always traditionally made outside Hollywood systems, independent filmmakers, like I said, people that are willing to take a chance. Even the big budget ones, like, don't really stick to you. I mean, we still talk about like Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which were all technically independent films made outside the Hollywood system. So, and I think Hollywood's always kind of snubbed their nose at the genre too, but then you get someone like, John Krasinski, right? That made, A Quiet Place, and kind of shows that they're trying to embrace it a little bit. So, but I do appreciate when it comes like this, when it feels nitty gritty, made by the fans. So I'm excited for this one.
Check it out.
Yeah, check it out on that Shudder app. All right, you guys want to take one more quick break before our final award, which is the best favorite thing of the year, which will be right after this BRB.
Now, get 2-day rentals on all new releases at Rogers Video.
bored.
Don't be bored. Join the party. Call 1-976-8888. There's a great time waiting for you right now. Meet new friends or just listen in. Everybody's doing it. So call 1-976-8888.
Where was that party?
So, what are you waiting for? Don't be left out on all the fun. Call right now, 1-976-8888. 88 cents per minute billed to your phone. Brought to you by Omegaphone.
Just like you, I was really skeptical about which one of the party lines is really the best. It's 1-976-BEST. It's easier than going to some singles bar. The phone's right there within your reach. And it's a real kick because you get started talking with everyone on the line right away. I got together with this guy I met on the best party line, and I'll tell you, it's fun, exciting, and the best way for you to meet someone new. The best party line. It's just a phone call away.
Do you sometimes sit alone, wishing for the perfect fantasy? Has love passed you by? Do you dream of encounters with a perfect mate? Or spending precious moments getting close to someone you could really love? For just 99 cents per minute, indulge your fantasy. It's live. Call 1-976-DATE now.
Imagine you get a date on a phone, a regular terrestrial phone. That's all you do. You just call a number and get a date.
That sounds like today it would be a reality show on Netflix, right? But Love is Blind, which is basically, that was the original Love is Blind.
Yeah.
You're just going to call somebody on the phone. Like, what do you sound like? I sound
Love
like
is
Megan
577-4426.
Have you seen that TikTok that's going viral right now of the blind date where the guy shows up and the girl that he's been set up with is actually blind?
Oh,
and it's her
yes,
friend
I
set him
have
up,
seen that.
And she was like, "You didn't know I was blind?" No, he's like, "No, they said it was a blind date." Because he's like, "What do you have that cane for?" She goes, "I'm blind." And then he's okay with it. He's perfectly cool with it. He's like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I be?" But it's just, I love that. Just like, it's a blind date. No, it's literally blind
That
date.
was funny. And he's just like, yeah, if you can see which hand I have up, you get to pick where we're going to.
Did you change your hand? I heard you change your hand.
He handled that really well.
Yeah.
That's a real show? That's a shoot?
It was that was a shoot meme that came
okay.
out, yeah. But now it'll probably be a show. Blind dates. All right. We are coming to the end here, and we have a final award. We're all going to pick this. This award is the best favorite thing of the year. Oh, there it is. Best favorite thing of the year. I think we still calendar year 2023 with a little bit of 2024. So this will be each one of us. This is going to be a shoot. We don't have an envelope for this one. And I'll go first because mine's going to be a little bit of a retread. I think the best favorite thing of the year was going to movies again. And we have Barbenheimer to thank for that. Again, we talked about this earlier. I mean, wrestling, the psychology that it used accidentally to get people to go into the theaters. All three of us are huge marks for the movie theater experience. I'll watch something at home. I'll watch something on my phone. I'll watch something rent versus buy versus stream. But to me, premium Paramount is still the theater going experience. And I'm still chasing that dragon. You're always going for that pop. The Barbenheimer was awesome because I felt like for a moment of time, everybody was just like us. Everybody wanted to go to the movies. We wanted to go to movies multiple times a week, but we had everybody talking about films again because I saw an actor was talking about that. They're like, yeah, if you talk on the tiers of where films are as far as like influencing the zeitgeist and pop culture, now they have like films as like 4, right? They'll say you have, reels and videos online and then even music will go for it. Like it's down the ladder. And to me, that makes me nervous because I don't want the theater going experience to become extinct. I enjoy that. That is Mario has a great quote. That's not my escape. That is my reality. I just love the ability. And if we believe that this world is a simulation, now through movies, we have the ability to experience fear or experience action or experiencing horror or love without actually having to feel or experience it, like to actually go through that. So I think films are very therapeutic in that sense, and there's nothing better than the escape of just being in the theater and experiencing it. And so thank you, Barbenheimer, for getting people to go to the movies again.
Yeah, definitely. I've always kind of said, even since I was a kid, you know, movies are my religion and the theater is kind of my church. Like, nothing's ever going to beat that experience of sitting down in a dark theater and experiencing a movie. It may be different in a different way than watching it at home, or same thing. I'll stream, I'll watch on my phone, I'll watch at work on my lunch break. I love just watching movies, but there's just really nothing like being in a screening room, watching something on a large screen with great sound, and, you know, for better or worse, dealing with the people that are around you as well, too, and experiencing it with them.
Yeah, the co-experience of just like sitting around campfire tales, even if you're not in the same, like if you're not interacting with them, you're still sharing the experience together.
And plus, you'll never get this again. It's going to be a long time before you get this again. This is just like the first guy who put peanut butter into his chocolate. Or whatever,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, the Barbie movie and the what's the guy's name?
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Yeah. The Barbie and the Oppenheimer, the nuclear explosion, and just like the doll that wears clothes. 2 movies completely at odds coming out on the same day. Like, when does that ever even happen at all?
No, most people,
They
most
don't
of
do
all the distribution companies, they
avoid that.
The theater, yeah, they avoid
as
it.
much
Like,
as
okay,
possible.
they don't want to
give
do
up
it.
any market share.
No. Why? I think that it was great. And then you found a way to get people to watch both.
And there was just so much cultural significance. Again, the costumes, the Barbie boxes in the theater, you know, the Oppenheimer memes, Florence Pugh, all that stuff. There's just so much, like that one image of Benny Softy with the lotion on his face. That's gonna go on. That's gonna live forever. So many moments were made. It was just, I think we're privileged to have lived through Barbenheimer.
Yeah, I think it was a very important moment in history, and I'm
lucky.
thankful.
We're lucky we got to go. It was probably the biggest movie weekend that I can remember since, like, I don't know how long.
It's been a while, and it was great to see. For a moment, everybody was like us.
Okay, B Rose.
B Rose,
what
you're
is
next.
your best favorite thing?
So mine, as much as we've been talking about how much we love movies, mine pivots a little bit because mine is a TV show. And
you like TV?
It's one, you know, I love watching TV. I love how great we've entered this realm of TV being good again, because we saw it in the 90s, kind of early 2000s. We saw this resurgence of great TV through HBO and through the start of cable.
Yeah.
And then we had a bit of a lull where it kind of just stagnated a little bit, and then we started getting a lot of good shows over like the last 4 or 5 years. In this one, I'm not going to say it's like the greatest like technical achievement in like a TV show, but you know, everyone's got their things that they like and things that hit them in certain ways. And I know that this in particular, I'm going to get some fighting from people because there's some people that did not enjoy this last season of it. But my best favorite thing of the year has been my favorite TV show over the last couple of years, and that's Ted Lasso.
Oh, yeah.
And so we finally got our final season of Ted Lasso this year. And man, this show is just, I'll just admit, I don't like soccer. I could care less about soccer. And this show not only has made me care about soccer in a way, but this show just hit me in a place that I wasn't really expecting.
Yeah.
I knew everyone was talking about how great it was, and I'm very reticent about just jumping into things like that because of the hype. But I will be damned if this show just didn't hit me directly in the heart and never let up.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people had issues with this final season with how certain things were done. But, man, I hate to say, you know, I hate to throw around the word a perfect show. But if there's a perfect show that's not this, I haven't seen it yet. This is just, this checks every box for me. And even the episodes that aren't as great as other ones are still far and above other things I've watched. And so I know it's a show, especially being on Apple Plus, a lot of people tend to like trash on it because it's popular. But man, like everybody that I've introduced the show to, like it was introduced to me, has fallen in love with it. And so it's been fun getting to share that with other people as well too, and see how much they enjoy it as well.
This is that water cooler show because nobody knew this was coming. I think everybody's genuinely surprised, and you find out when somebody recommends it, and it's a show that you would never watch, right? It was a throwaway character that he did for like an NBC sports spot.
Yeah, it was like a sketch on football.
During the World Cup, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then all of a sudden, did you think if you saw that and like this show is gonna, make a place in your heart and never leave and get you all emotional? I mean, you cry. You laugh, you cry in that show. I admit that the Christmas episode is now perennial viewing every year. Even though I don't watch the rest of, I haven't gone back and binged the rest of it, but I will watch that episode every year. Every year.
Episode.
And this is one of the few shows, much like Parks and Rec and The Office and things like that, where not only do I rewatch it, like I've already watched the entire Ted Lasso series this year, and we're just entering March.
I think this show did something even bigger than like Parks and Rec and The Office in that they only gave us 3 seasons. They left us wanting more. They didn't overstay their welcome. Now, like Parks and Rec does not overstay their welcome, but a show runs longer, like Parks and Rec and The Office. You get to like a certain point where it's just like, now how do we end this? This just played out very well in 3 acts, 3 seasons, and said, okay, we're done. That's it. We're not selling ads. We're just on Apple, and that's it. Yeah, I agree. I think it's great. I had no heat with the 3rd season. I have no idea why it would bother people. The TV dirt sheets are always just looking for more fodder. But yeah, you're right. This is one of the best things of the year.
I agree. I mean, I think that's a great pick, and it's the biggest surprise show that I've ever watched. It's a show I didn't happen to pick. So good pick. I would love to see it on the big screen. I'd like to see that Thanksgiving special or whatever.
The Ted Lasso movie. Eventually, the folks from Richmond come to America.
Yeah,
it's like Crocodile Dundee, but like with a bunch of Crocodile Dundees.
An American tour.
Crocodile Dundees.
The S is for money. All right, Mario. Last up, take us home. Best favorite thing of the year.
Okay, my best favorite thing and this I said earlier, this is a swerve, because we're not a sports show, but we like sports. Jeff, I know you like sports.
Love sports.
You watch sports or no?
Oh yeah,
I rage against sports too, though.
I watch the sports that most people don't watch.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, this can be anything. Best favorite thing of the year, and I thought about it. And I went back and forth. Godzilla Minus One, love that. Love the bear. All these things. But my favorite, best thing of the year that I could not shake is Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, wow. I did not expect that.
Do you know Victor Wembanyama?
Oh, yeah.
B-Rose, you know. Tell them who Victor Wembanyama is.
Well, he's 9 feet tall.
He's about 9'5"
with a wingspan of 13 feet.
Yes.
He basically is like a real life version of Michael Jordan in Space Jam at the very end when he's making the dunk.
When he stretches his arm against the Monstars?
Yeah. It's like that come to life.
So the Spurs are my team. 2 years ago they drafted him, and now he got to play a full season, and this kid is just insane. 7'5" for a shoot. Plays like a guard. And watching him go from opening game and just getting better and better. He's a rookie. He started the season. He was 19, and he's improving. And now we're at the end of the season. Spurs will have a losing record. They're not making the playoffs, but man, things are really looking up.
Well, it's funny too because when you watch him play, I think the proportions of him are so off that you're like. It's like watching a toothpick play and someone's going to snap him in half.
Yeah.
But he's just solid muscle. And you can see him just dominating people.
Yes. And he's learning to play in the NBA and figuring out how he can work his angles. And he's he plays like no one you've ever seen ever. Shoots the three like I think he shot 47% from the 3-point line in February. Crazy. Everything's going on.
And he's also
What's up, AJR?
He's got not only the
Wemby.
best coach in the NBA,
Yeah.
but he's also got the best mentors because Robinson and Duncan have come back to kind of work with him, and so he really, as long as he keeps a level head, the sky's the limit for him.
He's a model for Louis Vuitton. I mean, it's all over the place. Like, people were calling him Slender Man, and he showed up to a game dressed as Slender Man.
Did he really?
Yeah. He's for Halloween, he dressed as Slender Man. So, yeah, this has been my favorite thing of the year I'm following. Again, Spurs are not in the playoffs this year. Their last game will be April 14th. But, man, things are looking up, and this kid is incredibly talented, and I can't wait to see him play for the Spurs.
I think there's something about the extremes in
Rookie of the
sports
year,
like that really grabs your attention. And when it comes to basketball, you're always going to gravitate towards the tallest player and the shortest player. You know, the dunk contest was won by the dude that's not very tall, but he was just like mesmerizing. And I think you kind of get the opposite effect with this of just seeing somebody so tall. It reminds me back in the day, Manute Ball, right? He was like 7'7", and it always just captures your imaginations when you see something, just a spectacle, for lack of a better, but not just like a sideshow spectacle where somebody who's out there and he's like truly balling, right?
Yeah, and it's just like he's slowly developing. Again, this is just the trailers. You know what I mean? Last month, he had as many blocks as the entire New York Knicks. Block shots. So it's exciting. So I can't wait. I have every streaming channel that you need to watch the Spurs. It doesn't work with NBA League Pass. They don't let you know that.
Because you're too close.
What an insane prospect.
Yeah, they don't want to take your money.
I just like, I want this. I want League Pass so I can watch my team. No, you can't watch your own team if it's too close. But that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I have YouTube TV. I have Bally Sports. But anyway.
That's an outdated practice. That's a travesty.
They should just let you watch.
Happens.
Just pay by the game.
Yeah.
How about that?
Pay-per-view? I mean, why not? I totally get that.
Anyway.
So
that's mine. And yeah, it's been an excellent year in media, pop culture, everything.
What do you want to do? What are you looking most forward to this year in 2024? I mean, I know we're already at the end of Q1 of 2024. Is there a film that's really grabbing you that you're ready to go?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that I'm ready for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be huge.
The world needs Deadpool and Wolverine.
I'm excited for that. I'm also excited to see, hopefully that they don't screw it up, the Borderlands flick. I think that could be a fun... That could take my place of like, this year Dungeons & Dragons was the fun movie that I really enjoyed and didn't take too seriously. So I'm kind of hoping Borderlands might be that. Plus we get Kate Blanchett looking amazingly hot. So I'm not going to complain.
That's never a problem. Mario, quickly, you got anything you really looking forward to?
To repeat, I've said it on the show multiple times. Terrifier 3.
Terrifier 3. That is awesome. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Halloween 2024 because of that. So I'll back your play on that. All right, cool. Thank you. Let's do a quick toast before we bail out to our second annual House Show Awards. That was we will call it a success, and enjoy the Oscars this Sunday if you do watch it, or just read about it and troll it. Whatever you want to do, just whatever you do, make good decisions.
Cheers.
Cheers.